Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crowley. I'm back with another video. This is not going to be a how to draw video. It won't be step by step or line by line, but hopefully you will find it interesting. What I want to do is explore three different ways of drawing exaggerated body proportions. And each one of the drawings that I do here will be the preliminary guidelines of an actual animated character. And to make it fun, I've decided not to reveal who they are until the very end of the video. So let's go ahead and get into the first one. What I've got here is a kind of reality check version based on a photograph of what a real teenage girl's body proportions look like. In this pose, I'm going to draw, to begin with, a quite exaggerated, but not wildly exaggerated, version of this same pose. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I've finished the basic guidelines of this character. It's a fairly well-known character. I'm not going to reveal the identity until the end, but it'll be interesting to see if people say, oh, I was able to guess that character based just on the silhouette alone. But what I have done is I've put lines in three different places, apart from just a midway point line, which I just drew that's midway between this line at the top of the head and basically where the feet or the heels touch the ground. There are three lines here, one at the chin, measuring that distance. The other is at the narrowest point of the waist, and then finally just a line at the knees. So it's interesting to compare. If you put a line at the bottom of this chin, the head is just a little slightly larger than what you see in real life. And then this narrowest point of the waist, a little higher up, but of course the big difference is how narrow indeed it is compared to real life. And I think it's a troubling, really, in a way that artists, maybe many of them male, have this way of reducing the width of the female waist when they're drawing it to just ridiculously small proportions. And you know, you do sort of fear that this contributes to women's body image, this crazy idea of the super narrow waist. And but nevertheless, you see it again and again. And finally, the big difference here, the knees, the line of the knees, much higher than in real life. So what's interesting is you see that the whole area of the waist is being raised up here so as to create these incredibly long legs as an exaggerated style. To me, it's sort of like Barbie doll style legs. And what I found interesting was that, you know, if you're measuring the thigh between here down to the knee, and then the knee down to the foot, it's really the knee down to the foot that's getting the really exaggerated sort of distortion going on here. So anyway, go ahead and hazard your guesses as to which character this is, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, well, this character here is maybe less famous than the other two characters beside her, but nevertheless, maybe some of you can guess who it is based on this contour alone. Let's look at this one. The size of the head, larger, considerably larger than that last character, much larger than it would be in real life. The waist, very narrow indeed. But interestingly, not too far from where the waist falls in real life. And the knees, a little high, but certainly not nearly as high as before, getting close to where they are in real life. But what strikes me about this is that the arms are bigger than in the previous version. The feet, much larger than, certainly in proportion to the rest of the body. You know, otherwise just an interesting way of de-emphasizing the width of the legs, I guess I would say, in proportion to the arms. You know, normally, I shouldn't say normally, but in real life you see that the arms are considerably narrower from side to side than, say, the thigh. But here you have sort of almost the same, really, the aesthetic that this artist is going for. So let's go ahead and move on to the last one. Alright, well, you can see this is maybe the most exaggerated of all the characters. The head much larger, and then the limbs getting very narrow at the ankles and wrists. You know, I guess I was aware that this character had exaggeratedly narrow limbs, but just until I actually studied her, I did not realize it's like little insect limbs or something. They get so tiny. And yet the design works when you see it finished off, even though it sort of looks like the head would be so heavy that she would just fall over. Oh, another interesting thing about this character, all of the characters, of course, including the real human being, there is a sort of a noticeable indentation where the waist comes, the narrowest part. Here, the designers have sort of avoided that, and it's just a smooth, continuous line, and I just sort of chose at the narrowest point, but it really does not come into any kind of an angle there. And so now, oh, one final thing I wanted to say about this. Even though this character is so exaggerated and the head, you know, is so much larger than the human head in natural proportions, some of the other parts are actually lining up in a very similar way. The sort of waist area is lining up very much as it does in real life, and then the knees also pretty close to where they occur in real life. So it's sort of funny, even with these exaggerated characters, certain aspects, even if it's just random in nature, they will line up with real human anatomy. So let's go ahead and move on to the moment of truth. I'm going to do this all in time-lapse. I know a lot of people are going to dislike this video because it is not a how to draw video. It's sort of, I don't know, they might say, hey, this is just a watch me draw video. But I think it's useful sometimes to do an overview like this in which we can cover a lot of ground all at once and compare different drawing styles. So here we go into the big, long time-lapse part of the video in which you will see one by one all of the actual characters emerge, and we'll find out, were you right in guessing who they were going to turn out to be. Alright, well, there you have it. The mysteries revealed. Of course, we have Sailor Moon here, Starfire from the animated Teen Titans TV show, and, of course, Invisigirl, Violet from The Incredibles, one of my favorite animated films of all time. Let me know what you thought about this video. I know most of you probably prefer these step-by-step, line-by-line videos, but I think hopefully there will remain a place for this kind of overview video. I certainly learned a lot in doing it by studying the different systems of exaggerating the proportions. I learned a lot about how these different characters are drawn. But let's go ahead and thank anyone who has supported me by getting any of my books. We've got the Brody's Ghost graphic novel series, as well as Miki Falls, and Mastering Manga, my How to Draw book. I really do appreciate anyone who supports me by getting any of those books. But let's go ahead and lay down this pencil. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I'll be back with another one real soon.